Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I'm Ramona Broussard. I'm an instructional designer here on the Juneau campus, but I can help anybody on any campus. And today we're going to be hearing about UAS Connect, which is an events tool, a student engagement tool. And I am going to let Sal Hertz take it away from there.
Awesome. Thanks, Ramona. Yeah, so like Ramona said, my name's Sal Hertz, and I'm a communications specialist based out of the Chancellor's office here in Juneau. And I do both internal communications with employees as well as external communications. So you might know me because you might get the current in your inbox every day if you're an employee. Um, anyway, I'm really excited to share a little more about creating events in UAS Connect today. Abby Spofford, the U.S. Chief of Staff, is also here. And she's here in case you all have any really great questions at the end. She's actually been involved in this project for longer than I have been and is a really great resource of knowledge. Um, this is the first presentation on UAS Connect, and the goal is that by the end of it, each of you will be empowered to pick up what is, I think of as a really powerful megaphone for getting out the word about events. So we're going to start with just a brief overview of what UAS Connect is and how it's structured, and then we'll walk through how to make an event in two different ways. So first, how to create an event if you're a group officer, but also how to submit an event for approval if you're not a group officer. But I was curious about all of you. I was just curious who has interacted with UAS Connect before, just a show of hands or virtual hands. Okay, so some of you have. Um, who here is a group officer? Okay, so a lot of folks are. Has anyone created an event in UAS Connect before? Okay, it's about half and half. So UAS Connect is a campus engagement platform that is something that UAS has a subscription to, and it's built by a company called Campus Groups. And I'm really only mentioning the name of the company, Campus Groups, because they have a knowledge base on their website that's pretty helpful with troubleshooting. And I'll be sharing a link for that at the end of the presentation. But the reason why UAS Connect is a useful tool is that it's kind of like a centralized hub that will help get the word out about your events to a lot of different audiences, students, employees, the public. So I'm going to show you I made a little mixed metaphor graphic to help show um, all the audiences that UAS Connect can help reach. So you can see we've got UAS Connect as the megaphone, but it's also like the hub of the wheel. And then there's spokes going out in all different directions to other different forms of communication. So first of all, if you post an event on UAS Connect, it's automatically going to appear in the events calendar on the UAS website, as well as on the UAS Connect page. So when the public is like, oh, I heard about, this lecture that's happening. I want to go find it. They're gonna, if you post it on UAS Connect, it's gonna appear on the events calendar. It also, every week when I'm putting together the current employee newsletter, I go through UAS Connect and I look for events that have to do with that, like an employee might be interested in going to, and I add those automatically. So you don't even have to like send me an email or fill out the submission form. If you just fill out the event in UAS Connect, and if it has to do with employees, I'm automatically going to add it in there. The same thing happens, but with a student audience with social media. So every week, Katie Jordan goes through the events that are coming up the next week and looks for like public interest slash student like events and posts them all on the UAS social media. If you post an event that might appeal to students who are in Juneau, then you can just send a link of that to Bridget Monks, who creates the weekly Spike Juneau student newsletter, and it makes it super easy for her to just add the info to that newsletter as well. And then something else that may not be on your radar, but that these things get picked up into is talking points for the chancellor when she goes on the radio or when she's speaking with the Board of Regents. If there's any events that might be of interest to, the general public or to the Board of Regents, I'll pick up those things from UAS Connect as well to add those to talking points. So it is a very loud megaphone, very powerful megaphone for reaching people. Um, Finding UAS Connect, I'm going to now share a different window. So when you're like, all right, I'm ready to create my event, how do I get to UAS Connect? Or maybe you want to browse other events. So there's a few different ways to get there from the UAS website. So one way is just to go to the main page and scroll down until you see this blue purple square with the whale on it. From here, you can just click on the button and that'll take you to UAS Connect. You can also search for it under, oh, am I in the wrong one? All right, there it is. Life at UAS, the activities and events calendar. And this is in list form, but if you click on the green button in the right-hand side events calendar, then you can also look at it in more of a typical like monthly calendar form. I'm going to go back to list though, because I really like to see like the picture with the event. And over here on the right-hand side, underneath the green button that will take you to more information about the event, you can see which group is hosting the event. So that's pretty cool. And then lastly, if you can't remember where any of those buttons or links are, you can always just search for it from the main page and just look up events calendar. And just the first button, it is like around the rec center, but just clicking that button will take you right to UAS Connect, and then you can click out of that and get to more general information up there. So that's how to find it. And once you're there, you'll notice that there's a few different buttons on the menu up above for how to navigate. So if you just start off on the home page, it might take you for a little tour. And then the main two things going on are groups and events. And the two are linked because if you create an event, it has to be linked to a group. There's even other things that groups can do beyond events. We're not really going to get into the details of that today. But if you want to create an event, you have to first like select groups or align it with groups. So the first way because I know a number of you are group officers. First, we're going to go through how to create an event as a group officer, and it's a lot like creating a Facebook event, but there's way more options for event management. So this is like, I guess, one of the benefits of using UAS Connect is that it's like you can use it not only as a way to be like, here's my event that's posted, but there's a lot of options for like registration, payment, sponsors, things like that. You can even have a survey at the end, like where you can get feedback from folks on that event. There's a lot of ways to make it a little bit more detailed. So I happen to be the officer of a group called UAS General Events. So there's like, I can either start from the general events or from events to do it, but I'm going to go ahead and click on the group. And then from here on my officer screen, click on events. And there's some events coming up, but I'm looking for the green button that says create event over here. And the event that I'm going to plan today is a really fun party that I've made up called Spike's Birthday Bash. Spike always needs extra celebrating, and people are always in the mood to celebrate Spike. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And the main events at Spike's Birthday Bash are going to be cake and games. Um, and I'm going to select the event type. It's a social event. Um, and then if you want, you can also select tags. That's optional. It's fun. So I'm going to emphasize how fun it's going to be. I'm the event coordinator here, but you can also add a custom host to this as well. And what's cool is you can even add like hosts who aren't necessarily, um, you know, part of your group. You can extend who can be involved in that as well. Um, So there's a lot of different options. I'm not going to really go in detail on all the options on the form, but the most critical details, um, the start date is going to be May 1st, from 5 to 7, um, where it's going to be on campus, at the Spike the Humpback Whale statue on the Juneau campus. Um, Something to pay attention to here is who can see the event location. So it defaults to only display the location to logged on users. But that's a problem if you want this to be open to the public, because the only people who can be logged on users are students and employees of UAS. And in fact, a lot of those students and employees don't bother to log in. So someone might be planning to come to the event and then they're like, wait a minute, where is that event? And it's not showing up on UAS Connect. So if it's, if it's a public event, you definitely want to hit everyone. Everyone really does mean like anyone who goes on to the UAS website can see where this event is. Um, but yeah, if you do want to make sure it's a private event, then you can restrict it to logged on users, so members of the university community, or even just to users who are registered. Um, and if it's a virtual meeting, you can put the link here, and you can, if you want to keep it like, if you want to prevent Zoom bombing or just to be extra sure there aren't going to be any shenanigans, you can only display the meeting link to users who are registered. And, you're usually going to have or often have a registration for a Zoom meeting anyway. So that can just be part of that process. Another really important part is the photo. Um, and you'll notice that it specifies the dimensions that the photo will be cropped to when people see the event. So this is kind of where your event branding comes in. It's going to look a lot cleaner if you just go ahead and create an image or use a photo that is going to look good at those dimensions. So what I did was just created a custom dimensions in Canva when I was creating this graphic. And this graphic also is probably going to be pulled for other marketing materials. So this will be the graphic that, yeah, might get used in different newsletters and things like that. Don't forget to do the alt text and just kind of say what's happening in the picture. So a whale in a party hat um, with confetti. Um, and then say what the text says if there's any text on it. You can even list what food is provided. We're gonna have cake. And then who's allowed to register? So because this is a public event, we're gonna keep it open to everyone. You can see down below, you can also adjust for who can see this event. Um, yeah, so for many events, you're gonna keep it just to everyone, or you might, you'll decide for your particular event, your audience. But if you wanted to get a little bit more narrow in terms of who can register in these little like parenthesis areas where it says like some University of Alaska Southeast users only, you can choose here if you just want students to be able to register or just staff, just faculty. parents, community members. Um, so you can even get as detailed as years of graduation. You can get super specific on this if you want to. Um, and then down here, you could even, you know, bring it down to which residence halls people live in too, if you're doing residence type events. So and then you can control who can see this event because if you're controlling it to only those people can register, um, and then like you can make it so only those people can see it. But they have to, but again, they have to be logged in to be able to see it. So you might be excluding more people than you mean to. You can even choose if people register. You can keep it really simple and not even have registrations if you want, or you can get really complicated and have an attendance limit, limit when registration closes, send out reminders, have a ticket cover, um, have people RSVP. You can even ask for feedback afterwards. And then there's even more advanced options like um, you can track attendance. You can add additional questions to it. List who the speakers are, list who the sponsors are, um, add co-hosts, all kinds of things. So it's pretty fun. One little thing I'm going to do is change this to no one else can see this event since it's a pretend event. At least of now, it's a pretend event. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create. And then it's going to show up here in my list of events, and I can come back anytime and edit it. So lots of options, pretty complicated. Now, there is an option for creating an event as a group member, not an officer, but that is a setting that has to be enabled by a group officer. So I'm going to show you really quick, if you are a group officer, how to change that setting to make it so that any member can create an event. So we're going to go back to the group, UAS General Events. And then something important here, there's settings all over, but the specific settings we're trying to get to are on the group page. So we're going to click onto the group page. And this is what people who aren't officers will see automatically when they click on the group. And then up here, this settings, there's a little box right here that says allow members to submit events. So for this group, it's checked, which means that anybody can, because the whole university is a member of this group, any of you all can just come on here and submit an event. And now I'll show you what that form looks like. But first, because it looks a little different from my end, since I'm an admin, I'm gonna do I'm gonna impersonate someone who's not an admin so that it looks like that for you all. And Bonnie Jo has given us permission to impersonate her. Okay, so what Bonnie Jo or any just group member, what you can do is you're going to go ahead and go to the group page and then click on events on the group pages um, menu bar up there. And then there's a screen box that says submit event. And this is the whole event form for group members. You can see it's a lot shorter and briefer. But just the critical details. And if you have, if you saw some of those options, you're like, wow, but like, I want to, choose who can register and I want to, have a survey at the end. You can just contact that group, the group officer directly and say like, hey, can you go into the back end and change those settings? And you'll notice that it says like submit, not create event, because the event gets submitted for approval from that group officer. So also, if you're a group officer, make sure you're keeping an eye out for events that have been submitted. For me, It shows up sometimes in my notifications up here, but also like when I go to the group page, just look out for little like notices here to make sure that you're able to see the events and confirm them when folks have submitted them. That's it for the basic presentations and or the basic, yeah, um, how to part of this presentation. Um, yeah, what questions do you all have?
I have a question just about uh, sort of what it means to be an officer. So, like, I was made an officer of the general UAS general events, and I don't know if that's like appropriate or if I should be a member who's submitting events in a different way. Do you have any guidance on that?
Um, yeah, I would say that typically folks who are officers are in some sort of capacity where they would already be like in a type of role of um, confirming or like administrating events. So among students, it's often like the president of a club, or like among staff, it's often someone in an administrative type position. So if you are in that kind of role where you would already be interfacing with like kind of managing events, then it could be appropriate. But if you were just made a group officer so that you have that capacity to um, create an event, then you probably don't need to be an officer and could just submit an event as a member. Um, let's see, I'm going to put a few resources for you all in the chat. So I mentioned earlier the campus group's knowledge base. If you're ever troubleshooting and you need just to, research how to do something, that's a good place. But if you're looking for just the basics that we talked about in the presentation today, feel free to check out the Employee Hub. And I might just show you real quick where to find this information. So if you go to the UAS Employee Hub, um, which is linked to from I know we link to it from the current every week, and I think it's linked to from like the website as well.
Yeah,
Um,
it's in the footer of our main UAS website.
mhm. So you'll just go up to this communications bar up here, and then click on UAS Connect, and it basically will tell you everything that we went through in the presentation today. So, like where the events shared out, and then how to create an event. And this is categorized by group officer and group member. If you just need to go back and see the step by steps. This shows you like with the name of each thing that you click on in succession. But there's also a scribe that will kind of break it into steps for you as well. And then this webinar. Um, Recording will also be put up here if you need to take a look at it later. And then here's the knowledge base from campus groups. So feel free to use that as a resource as well. And then that information is also going to be up on the KELT website as well. Um, I also want to note that this is just the first presentation. So if there's something where you're like, wow, well, this is great, but like, I really want to know how to do this other thing in UAS Connect, or you're trying to create an event and you have additional questions, or you want to learn more about other things that you can do in UAS Connect, please let us know. We're planning to do additional follow-up presentations, and we would love to know what topics would be relevant to you, or what, even other resources that might be helpful. So yeah, feel free to drop us a chat or an email anytime. Abby, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, just thanks for being interested in this. It definitely will help streamline where events are going, and then you don't have to bug Sal every time you want an event into the current. And I know Sal and I and Sean here in the Chancellor's office would be happy to walk anyone through their first event if the resources that are provided are not your learning style. But I think Sal's got quite a few options on there. And if you really want to be an officer because you want all the fancy wingdings, we can probably make that happen.
Well, thanks so much for coming, everyone. Thanks, Ramona, for hosting this event with us.
Thank you guys so much for your time, and thanks everybody. Have a great Thursday.
Bye.